4 years ago, I started my programming journey. I went to a bootcamp for a couple of months. I dropped out and I decided to go through the self-taught route. I've spent the past 4 years teaching myself to code and improving my skills by building projects. Along the way, I've learned some invaluable lessons, most of which I didn't realize until recently. And today, I'm going to share with you 5 of the most invaluable lessons I've learned. And also, I'm going to be making a huge announcement at the end of this video. It's something a lot of you guys have been requesting, and I'm finally glad it's coming to life. So make sure you stick to the end. Let's get into the video. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Levi and I make software engineering videos. So if that interests you, please consider subscribing. The first and probably my most valuable lesson is comparison is the thief of joy. This is a very important lesson for me because it almost broke my career. I was a 17-year-old kid, just got done with high school. I discovered programming and I started building out HTML forms and posting them on social media. Side news, that's how I actually got into content creation. I was following a lot of developers on X or Twitter at that time. Whenever I opened Twitter, my whole feed was just filled with developers posting what they were working on. You see, this can be a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, depending on who you are and how your mindset is. It can be a good source of motivation, or it can create unnecessary envy that triggers you to compare yourself with that person, and at the end of the day, it makes you feel like you're not enough. Not until I realized that I was actually comparing myself to the wrong people. Like I mentioned earlier, I was just a high school grad. This was just my first couple of months learning how to code, and I was comparing myself with developers on social media that have been coding for probably years. They definitely had more experience than I did, but somehow I failed to see that and kept punishing myself for not being like them. I believe in healthy comparison, if that's actually a thing. Comparison that leaves a positive impact on your journey. See it as a source of feedback that triggers improvement and not envy. Trust me, this is very easy to say than it is to put into action, but it all requires a mindset shift. The truth is that you're doing absolutely amazing things for the level you're in, but you fail to realize this because you've been blinded by envy. And when you fail to acknowledge your achievement, it feels like you're not making any progress and you're tempted to quit. Every single day you go to your computer to code, always let yourself know that you are here for a reason, and you're not going to let anyone's achievement hinder your own progress, but rather you're going to use it as a source of motivation to improve. You are enough and you are valid. Period. The second lesson is your learning structure is key. The reason most developers quit programming is because their learning process lacks structure. And when I say structure, I'm referring to these 3 things: goals, curriculum/resources, and feedback. For your goals, it's simply what are you trying to achieve exactly? Are you trying to be a front-end developer, a back-end developer, or a cloud engineer? What is that one thing you're trying to achieve? And just make sure your goals are clearly stated. For curriculum and resources, what languages or what technologies do you need to learn to achieve that goal? And once you figure out what you need to learn, the next question is, where can I find the learning resources? And for feedback, you're going to need some kind of mentor or fellow developer that can hold you accountable. Because it's not just all about taking in all those tutorial videos, watching them. You're going to need someone that can guide you through the right path. Once you have these 3 things in place and you're able to enforce it properly, I bet you're doing better than 60% of developers out there. The truth is that your progress as a software developer depends on your learning structure. When I was learning how to code, I had no structure. My learning process was just based on straight vibes. I just had a hard drive full of different web development courses. I learned HTML and CSS for a couple months, then I tried out JavaScript. I didn't like it, then I decided to go learn PHP. I absolutely loved PHP. Then I heard about React and I was like, oh, that sounds fun. I picked up a React tutorial and that didn't go well at all. I realized that I needed to understand JavaScript before I could use React. I went back to learn JavaScript, and in the process of me learning JavaScript, I heard about React Native. It was a framework that you could use to build mobile apps for both Android and iOS. And I was like, that's actually fun. So I picked up React Native, and that was also a disaster because you need to understand how React works before you can use React Native. Guys, my learning process was just based on pure vibes. I had no structure, I had no accountability partner or mentor. It was just me doing whatever I desired. And for that reason is why I recommend for most people to go to college or bootcamp. Those guys have a specific structure that has been proven to work. As long as you have your goal clearly stated, they provide you with the learning resources and the curriculum, and also your lecturer or your professor serves as a mentor and also a source of feedback. So if you have the money to spare, I would say go ahead and enroll into a bootcamp or college. Only if you have the money to spare, because that thing is expensive. So now moving on to the third lesson, stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes I just wish I can stand at the top of the Eiffel Tower with the megaphone and just let everyone know, like, Guys, stop trying to reinvent the wheel. As a self-taught developer, it's very easy to fall into that trap of trying to build everything from scratch, thinking it's going to deepen your understanding or give you an edge. To be honest, that's somewhat true, but however, this approach leads to wasted time and frustration. A lot of frustration. Most of these established tools, libraries, and frameworks exist because they've been tested and refined by a community of developers. Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, focus on mastering those tools and use them to solve problems more efficiently. You'll be able to achieve more, learn faster, and produce better work by leveraging these existing solutions. Let me tell you guys a quick story. Oh god, I don't feel proud about this, but it is what it is. My latest project, Scribbler, uses Next Authentication, which is an authentication library for Next.js. It basically handles all the authentication for your app. Before I decided to finally use Next.js, I attempted to code out the whole authentication flow by myself, and I hit multiple roadblocks. I needed a way to authenticate the user, store all the user's data into a session, and keep track of the user's session. So that way, if the user uses the app for at least 4 times in a month, it will still leave the user logged in. If not, it logs the user out. Another roadblock was trying to synchronize social login with email authentication. Let's say a user signs up with Facebook, for example, and let's say they're trying to log in with their email address. It should still be able to log them in, just as long as their Facebook email matches the email they're trying to log in with. These and many more were the roadblocks I faced when I was building the authentication for that app. I was able to write the code to make all that possible, but due to the complexity of the authentication flow, I totally messed it up. When I did the first batch of beta testing, I remember a developer reported that the system was able to still log them in whenever they typed in any random verification code. And that happened because I was trying to reinvent the wheel, or I just suck as a developer. After that incident, I switched back to Next Auth, and it took me about 2 days to get everything up and running again. But it took me 2 weeks to code out the initial implementation. So just stop trying to reinvent the wheel and just embrace already existing technologies. Alright, lesson number 4, do not over-engineer things. I do not care what level you are in your software development journey, everybody is guilty of this. You see, the thing is that as software developers, we often aim for perfection, which can lead to over-engineering simple things, which basically means adding unnecessary complexity to your code or project in attempts to cover all possible scenarios or future-proof your work. I get it, it's very important for us to write clean and maintainable code. Over-engineering can make your project harder to manage, slow down your development, and increase the risk of bugs. I would say the greatest acronym of all time is KISS. Keep it short and simple. Actually, I believe that keeping your code short and simple is something that comes with experience. No matter how hard you try, you can't convince a beginner to keep their code concise. It takes time. As you write more code, you will start to realize the value in writing less code. That's just how it works. A quick example of over-engineering something for those of you guys that might be wondering. Let's say you're building a simple to-do application. Instead of keeping it simple, you decide to break the app into microservices, one for handling tasks, one for authentication, another one for notifications. At this point, just stop. That architecture right there is something you will use for a more advanced to-do application, like let's say Notion, even though it's a productivity app, but I mean, you get the point. There's no need to do all that for just a simple to-do application. Every day you wake up, before you code, just say this phrase to yourself: keep it short and simple. Or better still, use something like this as your desktop wallpaper. And of course, you always save the best for last. This lesson is something that I honestly wish I knew earlier. Like, no joke, I really wish I knew this earlier. Riding with a community of developers is way better than riding solo. You need to understand that becoming a software developer is a journey, and one of the most invaluable lessons I've learned is that you will always need community. You can never do it just by yourself. In the early stages of your journey to becoming a software developer, it might seem like going solo might be the best way for you to prove yourself. You will quickly realize that the power of community can never be overstated. Engaging with other developers, whether through forums, open source, or meetups, provides you with a different perspective, and also supports when you hit roadblocks, which you would definitely hit. The collaborative environment from communities pushes you to grow faster. It also helps you stay motivated and also open doors to opportunities you would have never discovered on your own. Which leads me to my announcement. Over the past month, I've been requested to create a community for developers where we can all come together to develop projects, ask questions, and learn from each other. And I am so happy to announce that Levi's Codecraft is a go. This is a community that aims to be different from the regular communities. At Codecraft, you will be prompted to complete weekly tasks and win badges, and also increase your rank in the community. The goal is that every 3 months, the highest rankers from weekly tasks and myself will come together and develop a full stack project that will be featured on the channel. There will also be different sections in the community for you to upload your projects to receive immediate feedback from myself and also members of the community. You can be part of the first 1,000 people to be a part of this community with the link in the description. I'm currently limiting the members to 1,000 because I'm still trying to experiment things out, and hopefully in the next month I'll be able to fully open it to everyone to be a part of this amazing community of developers. But go ahead and click the first link in the description to be a part of this amazing community. But there you have it, guys. That's the 5 invaluable lessons I've learned from being a self-taught developer for the past 4 years. The reason we make this kind of videos is so that you guys can learn from it, and I really hope you guys were able to find some value in this video. If you did, please don't forget to leave this video a like. It helps YouTube recommend this to other developers, and also share this to your developer friends as well. I just want to say a quick thank you guys for 10,000 subscribers. I can tell you for fact that 1 month ago, like having 5,000 subscribers seemed very impossible, but here we are with 10 point something thousand subscribers. Thank you guys so much. We can only keep growing from here, so please just do your part by hitting that subscribe button, and let's build a huge community of developers. Thanks for sticking around, and also don't forget to join the community using the link in the description. Thanks, and I'll see you guys in my next video.